Welcome everyone to this week's picture. This week we're going to needle felt a cute little snowman. He's quite simple. He shouldn't take you more than maybe 5 or 6 hours to do in total, and you can choose whether to do all the shading and things that I'm doing or just leave him a bit simpler, whatever your skill level and whatever you're happy with. So here I'm showing you I have a light blue, a white and a little bit of the dark blue, and I'm going to mix those all together and end up with the colour you can see there. And then I'm going to take the light blue and the white and mix them together separately. So you're going to have two colours. So that's all three colours mixed together, the light blue, the white and the dark blue. And we're just going to put this around the outside. My idea for this picture is to have a sort of, you know, on a snowy day when you look out of the window, everything's slightly blurry. And you have that kind of very wintry looking day, and that's what I'm going to try for here, is to see if we can get a nice wintry looking day out of it. So that's around the outside because that's going to frame the picture. And then I've used the colour, the next colour in that I mixed with the light blue and the white, and I'm using that to put some colour to blend the dark blue into the paler colours, as you'll see as we're going along. And you just lay that and feather it out a little bit so that it kind of blends in. And then what we'll do is we'll take some of the light blue and white that we mixed together, that one, and we're going to add just a hint of yellow and mix those together, because that's going to give a little bit of brightness around the snowman. So on these you want to mix together fairly well, because you want, when you hold it down, as you see me holding it against the colours, I'm checking that it's not too different, but it's just that little bit brighter, because I need them to blend together. I don't want a jarring line between them all. I'm not so worried about the dark blue at the top going into the light blue, because that's going to frame the picture, but the rest of it I want to kind of almost like they blur together. It's just a hint of different colour, just a hint of brightness with the yellow. And you do that all the way around the snowman's head and his hat. Now I've got here a green and a grey, and again a little bit of that blue, because this is going to be, mix them all together. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just mix them together the best you can, because this is going to be the background colour of the trees. And it does look really dark, but you'll see as we go along. So again, this bit you can choose where you want to put your trees, and they don't have to look like trees at all. Just think of sort of a basic rough cone shape that a pine tree would have. You're not aiming to make, what shall I say, proper trees. They will be trees, but you'll see what, as we go along. So just the shapes, that's all. And then at the top here, I'm just adding some more of that light blue mixture we had, and I'm just putting it over the trees because they're going to be snowy and wispy, and I don't want the trees to stand out. Although they're dark, there's a reason for that, but I don't want them to stand out off the picture. So that's why I'm covering them in, think of it like I've covered it in some mist, but it's very thinly layered. And that tool, if you're new and you haven't seen, that tool I'm using is just a multi-tool. It has more than one needle in, that's all. And now I'm just mixing, I've just got some of that pale blue, and I'm going to roll it up, and I'm just going to plonk it down on the green. We'll see in a second. Oh, I've got that. Oh, here we are. This is the bit. Getting carried away. Yeah, so I'm just plonking it down, and what that's going to be is just the snow that would be on the leaves. And as you can see, I'm not worried about branches. I'm not worried about any of that. I'm just thinking, put some of this light blue down, and make sure I leave some gaps between each blob that I put down. And generally, I try and have them sort of at an angle, more or less sloping towards the ground a bit, because obviously the weight of the snow and the branches will pull the branches down. But if you look, there's no effort made to, you know, artistically make it a tree. because this is all going to blend in the background, and your brain and anybody else's brain looking at it will see it as a tree. So just make sure you just leave some gaps so that you've got the shadows, and just plop some white bits down. And anytime you see me just putting a big loose bit down like I've just done, that's just, I'm adding a little bit of misty kind of thing to it. As I say, because I want it to blend, but I don't want to lose all the green background that I've put in. I want that to be able to show through. You see, and there's a tree. And we're going to do the same with the other green tree now. Oh, I think on this, but I decided it was a bit too cone-like. I needed a few bits of branch sticking out. So I've just added a little bit of extra green poking out from the sides. But you don't have to do this, it's just I wanted a little bit more tree shape, I guess. But as you can see, I've not done anything special, just plonked some green on. And now I'm daubing down some of this white. And I don't mind if there's wispy bits, if you haven't rolled it quite enough and you've got little wispy bits poking off the white, just felt it all in. Obviously, as it gets nearer the top of the tree, the blobs get smaller. But otherwise, just have some fun. Just don't go crazy, but you'll know, you'll look at it and think, I've got enough, and just your judgment. And you can see how it's kind of wispy and in the background. And this is just a bit of the dark blue and green. I've just added a bit extra there because I wanted a bit of shadow under the trees themselves. And I'm going to do exactly the same with the tree on this side now. I should tell you, this is being this is being needle felted on 100% wool felt. It's not the acrylic that you get from a craft shop, this is the actual wool felt. I can't give any comments on felting on anything else because this is the only thing I've ever used, and I would be fibbing to you if I tried to tell you about all these other things. But there are other things you can felt on, but you might need to have a look on YouTube or Google search what they are. I think more or less you can felt on most things if you can get the needle through and it'll hold the wool. But that's all I know, so I would go check that out if you have something else you'd like to needle felt on. I know people who've felted on denim, wool jumpers, linen, things like that. And this picture I've done for this one is 7 inches by, no, let's get this right. I think it's 6 inches by 6 inches, sorry. And again, you can see I'm just putting some extra bits of branch just to give it a bit more tree shape to it. And I know I say it in all my videos, but just in case you haven't watched another one, the pictures I do, this will end up as a 6 inch by 6 inch picture, but I've allowed a ½ an inch all the way around the edge extra, and I needle felt right up to that extra ½ inch as well, because that gives you a chance to make sure that you've got all of it covered, and it gives you just a teeny bit of leeway. When you come to put your picture in a frame, you can shuffle it from side to side a little bit and see where your balance is that you like better. Things like that. So I always do them just that little bit bigger, and then I trim it down to size. Now I'm going to make the snow, which is basically the same colour as I've done for the sky. I know it seems weird, but you want some blue and some white mixed together, and that will make the shady bits, and I've got a little bit of dark blue in there as well. That's going to make the shady bits of the snow, and the whiter coloured snow that you can see that I've put above this is just some white with a very small hint of yellow, because that brightens the snow up, makes it look sunny. So this is quite a good one to learn snow on. And then because I've done the shaded bit, I've just taken some of the lighter blue mix I've got and put that over the top, just thinly. So I'm just putting in some shadow, that's all it is, with the darker snow. And then I just blend the line a little bit. And I'm back to the yellowy white snow here. I alternate it because it makes the landscape look like it's going up and down a bit. But if you're not comfortable doing this, you could just put some, don't use just white because it'll look odd. If you have some white and a touch of yellow, use that. You can see how little I use. Use that. But I've tried to keep the background fairly muted, like I said, because I want that nice wispy, snowy day look. And now we're doing the bobble on his hat. It looks quite dark, and it is because he's in the shade there. And we're obviously going to add some lighter bits to this, but this is a dark grey and mixed with white. And then we'll take some of the yellowy white that we've done for the snow and things and start to build that up on it, just to give it, but not all over. We just want to make it look a little bit round. And this is where he starts to come to life now, because we're going to add some pop of colour in there. I'm mainly using carded wool. So if you've had a kit or you've had some wool for Christmas or something, it's probably going to be carded. Carded wool is fairly easy to felt. And I happen to have the wool I just showed you, I got from a local shop. It wasn't even a craft shop, it was just a shop, and it had some really, really cheap wool. But I liked the colour, so I bought it. So, I don't know, I paid about £4 for 4 things of wool like that. So it was really cheap, but it does the job, and it works for me. So I've used it as a shaded colour, and then I've mixed it with some of that red as well, so I can blend the two bits together. But if you don't have a darker red, put a little bit of maybe black, but be careful with your black. Mix that with your red, because you just want to darken it down. Because all that shadow was for is just to show you the crease where his hat's folded over. This is the colour for the snow again, the shadowed snow, because his hat's going to be white, so I'm basically using very similar colours all the way around. It keeps the picture all nice and cohesive. And this is the lighter snow colour I'm using. And then the bit that I put on as a shadowy bit first, I'm brushing up with my needle. Do it very carefully, and I'm pulling it up onto the hat as if it's going to curve around the hat. That's why you'll see me keep brushing it upwards, and then I needle felt it, because I'm trying to get it to look like it's curved up. And now I'm obviously putting some shade in the side, because this again is the darker side. I'm not actually using black here, so don't use black because it's too hard. I'm using the same, I'm using the dark grey mixed with a little bit of the blue, but don't use black. If you've only got black, then mix up black with some of the blue or something, because you want to soften it a bit. And now I'm just adding the snow colour again, the yellowy white snow colour, to his face. Just do that all over. Because I've got a darker coloured felt that I'm felting onto, I have to be quite thorough here, because otherwise you'll see through the white. And you can get the background felt in all sorts of colours, so any colour works when you're painting. And obviously I'm just popping his eyes in here, and a little daub of white in each eye just to make it sparkle a bit. Brings it to life. And an orange blob for his carroty nose. So I've done the dark orange, then I've got just a quarter triangle of lighter orange at the top, and then a little bit of yellow. But you don't have to do that. I was just trying to make it look a little bit more cone shaped, like it's sticking out a bit. And the white here was just, I wanted a bit more gap between the carrot and his eyes. You can see that little highlight on the carrot works quite well. And now we're just giving him a smile. This is black, the eyes are in black and the mouth is in black. He's quite cute, isn't he? And then I've added just two little cheeky dimples at the corners, but you don't have to do this bit. You could just leave him with the curved mouth if you want to. And now again we're taking the snow colour, the light one with the yellow in it, and we're just going to cover all his body. I'm just putting in the shading. What I'm trying to do is just make him look a little bit more round, have a little bit of depth to him, make him look like he's sitting in the snow. But again, if you're not comfortable yet with doing all the extra shading, just leave him the yellowy white. He's just as lovely. Now there's a reason I've put this dark here, is because we're going to put his scarf on later, and I want the shadow and some shade under his scarf, so I've really basically put it in first. So most of that will actually be covered up. Now we don't want him to get cold, so we'll give him a scarf as well now. And this one, the first bit, because that's in the shade, I've mixed some of the darker red that I made with the lighter red, and I'm going to put that on, you'll see in a second, and it's just going to be the darker part. So I'm putting the darker parts of the red down first, And then I will actually go over this piece of red later on with a little bit of the light, the normal red as well. But I wanted to have all the shady bit in, which is why I've done this bit first like this. You see I haven't mixed it ever so well, it doesn't matter. This is where I'm taking some of the ordinary red that we were using and popped it over the top. On the outer edge I've left the bit where the two scarf edges sides meet darker. I'm taking some of the darker red mixture that we had, either that you've made or the one I have, and I'm just using it to outline the scarf a bit, because obviously the scarf would have a shadow where it's folded over. We have to have his collar buttons as well. I started to blend that in and then decided it was too light around the back, so I've moved it round to the front a bit more. And I'm just trying to soften the dark parts that I've put on. Because all the time I'm trying to make the shadows blend together as best I can. You don't really want any hard lines. And then along the front here is the yellowy white snow. And I've decided to have a stripy scarf, but you can leave it plain if you want to. If you do a stripy scarf, do what I've done, and if you look at the top part, it goes straight out sideways first and then down, because I'm trying to give the curved look of the scarf. And if you come straight down, it doesn't look realistic. So go out first and then come down. But if you didn't want stripes, you could do dots even. And what I'm doing here is I've got some darker green and I'm just going in to give a little bit of shadow. But this is another thing again, if you don't want to do this bit, it's fine without. And I've used the dark green to do the stripes on the back one, because I still want to keep that looking like it's behind everything. If you have some brown, don't forget some sticks for his arms. If you get some value out of these pictures, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help my channel grow, and I would very much appreciate it. And if you have any suggestions for other pictures too, please leave them in the comments, because I'm always happy to have ideas. The drawing for this picture should be in the description box below as well, so that if you want to download it for yourself, you can do. I can't guarantee that it'll come out the same size as this. You may need to do some fiddling, but I will try to make it so that it does. And now I'm just popping some holly. I say it like that because it was a bit more blobby than holly, a bit roughly holly anyway, on his hat. You could take a bit more time than I did. I'm not quite sure what I ended up with. Looks a bit like a poinsettia with berries. But anyway, yeah, just pop those on. Don't forget to add a little bit of white highlight to the berries as well, because you want them to shine a little bit. And if you're going to put them on, try and do them in something like 3s or 5s, because you don't want even numbers. Just try and have odd numbers. And I've got a little bit of light green here, so I'm going to add a little bit of highlight to some of the leaves. If you don't have a light green but you have a green, just mix a little bit of yellow with the green and do it that way. And I nearly forgot the tassels on his scarf, can't do that. At this point you can look at your picture and decide if you want anything at the front or you want to leave it as it is. I added a little bit of extra holly at the bottom because I thought it was nice to have a little bit of extra green down there, but that's completely optional. You could add sticks, extra lumps of coal, anything you like, or just leave it plain, whichever you feel happier doing. The reason I put the green on this side is I thought there was an awful lot of colour in effect on the other side, and I wanted to bring a little bit to this side. This is almost the end of this picture. If you do like it, please do give me a like and a subscribe. It would really be helpful, and I will see you on the next one. No idea what it's going to be yet. I'm still pondering it. Yeah, have a lovely week, and I will see you on the next picture. Bye for now.